bacon is bad for a lot of different reasons, and it's associated. Bacon, ham, processed meats, the sausage, all of those are clearly associated with colon cancer. So, and association is not causation. I'm not saying that it causes colon cancer, but it's a strong association. So if you eat bacon, have it once a month, or I don't know, occasionally or whatever, but it wouldn't be something that I would have every day. The big answer is yes, avoid it mostly.
Welcome to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. Thank you for joining us today. As you can see, Dr. Saunders is in a new location. And we're excited he's here. He kind of got stuck in traffic in London. So now he's just outside of London. But he's doing his best, because we're going to talk about something really exciting today. And I know a lot of you have been waiting for this conversation. And so hopefully his phone will work to talk about this today. How are we sounding, Dr. Saunders?
I think, I can hear you perfectly well, and it looks good to me.
Okay. Before we get started, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that Dr. Saunders is not your personal doctor. And because we're all so different, it is best that you consult with your personal doctor before you implement any of the things that we talk about today. And I know some of you are going to message me and say, but I really think Dr. Saunders is like my doctor. And that's okay, but I still have to put that disclaimer out there. We all love Dr. Saunders too, and we are so thankful for all the information he shares. But again, he doesn't have all of your personal information in front of him. So today we are going to talk about berberine. And I'm going to show you, actually, this is our berberine product that we have with Barton Nutrition. This is one of our newest products. And actually, it's been kind of funny, because I think every time I've talked to Dr. Saunders, he has found some new information or found a new study about the benefits of berberine. And so today we're going to try to talk about the benefits for those with type 2, but maybe there's some other things that you found that it may be beneficial for. And so I'm just going to let Dr. Saunders kind of tell us what he knows, what he's learned, and hopefully we won't have any problems with the connection there, but we'll do our best. Take it away, Dr. Saunders. Tell us all the things. Oh no, and then he's frozen. Isn't that how it goes? Okay. Well, we'll wait 1 second then until he hops back on. But he was hoping to already be to his location, and it didn't work out that way. And so hopefully he'll hop back on here. I'm going to quick show you guys the diabetes solution kit. This is the kit that we talk about each week. And so if this is your first time, first of all, welcome. We're so excited to have you guys. This webinar has been going on for, I think, 193 episodes. So we've been doing this for a while. We do it every week, same day. And most everyone that hops on here becomes familiar with the diabetes solution kit, or they've already purchased the diabetes solution kit. And so this is what Dr. Saunders actually recommends to people that come into his office. You can see I have my little notes all over it. But it is kind of our 3-phase program. And one of the things that Dr. Saunders is really passionate about is getting to the root of the problem, right? He's not just going to say, here's some meds. No, he wants to find out why you're having these problems. So he recommends blood tests. He recommends carb restriction. And so that is what happens in the diabetes solution kit. And so if you hear people reference that, that is what they're talking about. We have phase 1, 2, and 3, and you can get that at bartonwebinar.com. But one of the things that Dr. Saunders, you will hear him say this, he doesn't recommend supplements all the time. In fact, he would rather that you took care of illness through food, through fasting, through stress reduction, through all of exercise, through those types of things. But sometimes we do need a little support from supplements. And one of the things that he's found about berberine, well, I'm going to let him talk. He's back. So you tell us berberine.
Yeah. So And what's really interesting is it's kind of acts like a drug. It's not something like a nutrient that you need as a supplement. It acts like a drug, and the closest drug that it's like is metformin. And many of you know that metformin is used for diabetes, and because one of the things that it does is lower blood sugar. Well, in the same way, with the similar mechanism of action, berberine lowers blood sugar, but without the complications that can come from diabetes type or from metformin. So metformin can cause shut off the body's ability to use glucose in the cells. Berberine stops that use of glucose, but it works differently by increasing something called cyclic AMP. And in the process of doing that, it turns on and off genes. It actually works in the DNA to turn on and off genes for your metabolism. So it improves not just by lowering blood sugar, but actually improves the way your body works, the metabolism. So we've talked about this before, about how people use 60%, like normally good people, a good metabolism is 60% fat use and 40% carbohydrate. And diabetic metabolism, because of the insulin resistance, it reverses, and it's 60% carbs and 40% fat, which is not a stable source of energy. It's not a good way to get energy. So, and it can be even worse.
We're losing him.
Puts it back. It like reverses it back to the 60-40, 6% fat. Darn friends. So for you got now.
I think we got every once in a while it'll pause you and then it'll give us all the information really fast. So I think,
oh, wow.
I think we did get it though.
Okay. So, it's better than metformin. In fact, if I had a choice, if I was taking metformin, I would choose to take berberine instead. And now remember, before you do stuff like that, talk to your doctor, say, I want to do this instead. Now, most doctors are not going to know what berberine is, what it does, or why you would want to use it. So I'm explaining to you why you would want to use it. And if you want to give your doctor some information, some are open to that. In fact, more doctors are now open to that as opposed to in the past. So the metabolism is just one thing, though. That's just like one thing that it does. It also lowers inflammation. And that's huge, because for diabetes, inflammation is part of what causes insulin resistance and excess insulin production and damage to like nerves. You get the let's see, neuropathy, and you also have the other problems with your brain function and the kidney function. They all improve with berberine. So berberine isn't just something that lowers blood sugar. In other words, it's so much bigger and so much better than that in many different ways. Part of which is to lower blood sugar, but lowers inflammation. Another thing, metformin is used for anti-aging. Some people just take it. They don't have diabetes. It doesn't lower the blood sugar too much because all it does is change you from sugar burning to fat burning. It doesn't create a bunch of insulin like most of the other medications for diabetes do. So it actually improves, because it improves your metabolism. metabolism that way. It actually improved in animals, it seems. But I've never seen a head-to-head study, but I'll bet that even those people will find that berberine is a really good substitute. In fact, probably better than metformin for anti-aging, because it also lowers inflammation. And this is what Leslie was telling you about. You know, after I did all this research on what berberine does and what they found out about it, then I found another study that shows it reverses heart disease. Now, we're not talking about you you don't get any more heart disease. So for example, if you were to have high cholesterol, you take a statin drug, what's the best that it could possibly do? It could decrease the rate, or slow the rate of progression of your heart disease. You're still getting heart disease. It's still getting worse. Maybe not as fast. That's the best that the doctors have to offer with prescription drugs. Berberine turns that around, reverses it, and you actually get better. You actually improve the lining of the blood vessels, and your heart disease gets better. The calcium deposits come out, and you have better flow through your arteries from taking berberine. So it's not a small thing at all. It's actually really good for all those reasons.
Wow. Very cool. I'm gonna read this bottle. So here's our berberine from Barton Nutrition. And it says that we have a combination of berberine and milk thistle. Why did we do that in our formulation?
Okay, so milk thistle is something that we wanted to put in there because, number one, it helps the berberine function better. Milk thistle is something that helps the liver to process carbohydrates, but toxins and other things better. So the liver is more efficient, and that's primarily where berberine works. And because of the way berberine works on the carbohydrate system requiring fat to be used for energy, that's where the problems with metformin come in. So when you add milk thistle on there, then you get a good, clear functioning liver where you can detox really well. And you get the benefits of the berberine itself. So we wanted the combination in there for that reason. There's nothing wrong with plain berberine. It's not very well absorbed. So you take pretty high doses, and you take you take it more frequently during the day because it is it's short acting. It doesn't last very long in the body. So so it's best to take it 3 times a day, or at least twice a day, rather than like I've seen some supplements out there like 1,500 milligrams once a day, and it's probably better. In fact, it's better to take 500 milligrams 3 times a day than 1,500 milligrams once a day. So that's why we do that.
Okay. One of the things that I was going to mention that some people on our team have noticed too, maybe start small with berberine just to see how it affects your stomach. Your body gets used to it, and you naturally you'll get used to it. But for some people, I think a few of us had loose stools maybe the first time we tried it, probably because we were taking full doses. But you can start small. And actually, I think that they found like that was the same kind of side effect that metformin had for a lot of people when they first started also.
Yeah, it is. And there's a good reason for that. If you're generally running a high blood sugar and you're running on, 60% carbs and 40% fat, and most of your energy has to come from carbs, then all of a sudden you put this substance, whether it's metformin or berberine, in there, and you can't get enough energy now. That your energy is lacking because you're limiting the amount of carbs you're going to use, and you're kind of so so what that does is causes stomach upset. And it's really simple because it's a training process. It's not something that it's okay, and it's not something that's bad if you get stomach upset. It's not like oh my gosh, this is terrible. I can't take that because I had a bad reaction to it. That's not the case. All you need is a lower dose so that you're not all of a sudden putting just first, and then you get more of the fat burning metabolism. But it's a training process. It's something that takes days. It takes about 3 days to switch to fat burning metabolism. So if you start slow and you give about 3 days with just like one a day, and then take one twice a day. After 3 days, take one twice a day, and then after 3 days, take one 3 times a day. You'll get the greatest benefit from that.
We have quite a few questions about people who maybe are currently taking metformin. They want to introduce berberine. Should they stay on metformin? I'm just going to ask this question because I have a feeling I know what you would say. Would you recommend they stay where they're at, but closely monitor, talk to their doctor, and watch? If their numbers start to go down, your doctor isn't going to say, oh, get rid of the berberine. Hopefully he doesn't say that, or she. Hopefully he would say, oh, let's take less of the metformin, and slowly that can decrease, right? I mean, that would be the goal. And Dr. Saunders, would you recommend that they just stay where they're at and closely monitor?
Yeah, that's okay. What I do with my patients, I can't recommend anything for any of you, but here's what I do with my patients. I just stop the berberine. And the reason is partly because of that side effect. You're adding on it's the same mechanism of action, the same type of action that both of them have, the berberine, if you're already on metformin. So my patient is just stop metformin, start berberine. It's really easy.
Okay, so with his patients, he just stops metformin. But you'll have to discuss that with your doctor. And as Dr. Saunders said, they may not know much about berberine. So just know that going into it. Okay. Someone is wondering too, would berberine be better for someone with severe insulin resistance? Let's see if you got that. He might be gone.
That's really funny when you think about that. Yes, because what you want to do is lower insulin, and you want improve the function. You want to improve the function of your insulin. Can you hear me?
Kind of. It's cutting out.
Okay. So the way you improve the function of the insulin is by decreasing the blood sugar, and it's going to be helpful. So, I'm sorry.
He's frozen. We can kind of hear what he's saying, guys.
Anyway, so yeah. It should it's okay. It's okay to start berberine if you have severe insulin resistance.
Okay, perfect. Here's another question. Hopefully he can hear this. Does berberine inhibit muscle building like metformin?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great question. And the answer is, I don't know. I looked it up and I tried to find it and I couldn't see it, and it's possible. It's possible. Yes, because of the way it works, it blocks muscle building. Yeah. Interesting, huh?
Yes, very interesting. I'm going to read the back of the berberine bottle here, guys. I just want to tell you what's on ours. So ours say take 2 capsules once a day, preferably with meals, or as directed by your healthcare professional. So Dr. Saunders, can you tell us one more time? I'm actually going to turn your video off, I think. I think we'll just get better audio, But what is your recommendation for how to take our berberine? I think you mentioned this, but let's do it again.
Okay, so the best way to take berberine, it's pretty short acting. And so 2 a day is, when I told them, I said 2 a day is recommended, but it's better to split them up and take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. And then for the greatest effect, actually, it's better to take 3 a day because it's not well absorbed and it's short acting. So it's not something that stays in your body for a long time.
Okay. Okay. Here was a question I saw come in from Krish. Will the combination of berberine and milk thistle help folks who have IBS and leaky gut?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not IBS or leaky gut. It's really for people that have fatty liver.
All I heard is it's really for people who have. We might have lost him.
And people with diabetes that have fatty
Shoot.
liver.
Okay. I'm going to mute him for 1 second here. Maybe. I can't even mute him right now. So, I'm not sure what he's saying exactly, but we'll see if he can come back. And someone made a recommendation, maybe have you dial in on the phone connection.
Fatty liver.
Oh, okay. So really people who have diabetes and fatty liver. Okay.
It was formulated for people that have fatty liver.
Awesome. Okay, we got it. Let me see if there's anything else on here that I can quick ask.
Okay, I'm on, right?
Yep, I can hear you right now. Okay. Let's see. Okay, a lot of you are using CinnaChroma. Do you recommend that someone uses berberine with CinnaChroma? Oh, and I lost him. This is what I think that Dr. Saunders would recommend. He might be calling back in. While he's talking, I'm going to actually share, while he's hopping back on, and if you can hear me, Dr. Saunders, we're just wondering if you recommend CinnaChroma with berberine and why someone should take both. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys Barton Nutrition really quick until he hops back on, because I'm going to show you where you can get these and more information just about the supplements. But if you have type 2, the diabetes solution kit is really where you start. There are no magic pill supplements that are going to help.
Yeah.
This is where you start. Okay. And that can be found at bartonwebinar.com. All right. Let me see here. I'm going to share my screen for you guys. And hopefully that works. Okay. So here's bartonnutrition.com right here, you guys. And you can see we have quite a few products. Many of these you guys are using and love. Yeah, Dr. Saunders is still cutting out. Shoot. But here's berberine right here on bartonnutrition.com. You can see it's one of our newest products, and we're just so excited about it because, as Dr. Saunders mentioned, there are just so many benefits to it. If you use code webinar25, you will save 25% on berberine, or anything actually on the site. Or if you go to bartonwebinar.com, you'll see a link there for the diabetes solution kit. We have a lot of different products and kind of educational books that can help you to reverse your type 2. So be sure to check this out, bartonnutrition.com. Use code webinar25. If you have questions about any of the supplements, Dr. Saunders does do some videos where he talks about them also. Okay. And okay, I can hear Dr. Saunders well now.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay!
What can you tell us about using CinnaChroma and berberine together?
Okay, yeah. CinnaChroma is great with berberine.
It's great. And it's actually helpful, useful, and it's really good. So, but the metformin is not necessarily good with berberine. However, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, okay, good. So, and then the other thing we talked about, metformin. Metformin is not good with berberine, because metformin is has the same mechanism of action. I don't know if everybody heard that. So I take people off metformin.
Okay, so how would you recommend someone wanting to start that then? I mean, you said, they could chat with their doctor about it, assume that maybe their doctor knows nothing about berberine and they say, no, that's not possible. How do you do that? How do you navigate that? If you know something could have a significant impact on reversing your type 2, and yet it counteracts or works against the drug that you're using, what do you do?
That's a good question. Because here's what you do. You take charge of your health. You say, I'm in charge. It's my body. It's my decision. I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. And you look at all of the doctors and all of the research that you do and all of the internet webinars and podcasts and whatever you're looking at, and you say, that's good information. That's good information. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to take care of myself. So that's essentially what you do, is you take care of yourself.
And another reminder, I just mentioned this too, guys, but this is the place to really start, is the diabetes solution kit. This is where the magic happens, and we talk about this often. So be sure that you check that out also, the diabetes solution kit. You can find that at bartonwebinar.com. Let me see. Someone did ask, so which is better, CinnaChroma or Berberine for lowering your A1C? Or do you take both?
Okay, great question. So here's the thing. The pills do not lower A1C. That's not their purpose. The pills are to help you. So for example, the CinnaChroma is really important for people who have type 2, because most people with type 2 have deficiencies. I've tested thousands of people, and most, 60% of people do have these deficiencies, at least one of them. And if you have a deficiency in selenium, then you're much more likely to have a lot of problems with neuropathy and kidney disease and brain disease. And if you're deficient in chromium, you could get diabetes just from having a chromium deficiency. Wow. So it's not that you use the supplements because you want to lower your hemoglobin A1C. It's because you use the supplements so that you can have a normal functioning metabolism, so that when you go on the phase 1 of the program, you could say, oh, this is great. It actually works. Because some people have come on and said it doesn't work to do phase 1. They've done it for weeks or months and haven't lowered their blood glucose, and sometimes they need a supplement.
Yeah. I mention this often, but I don't think anyone on our team actually has type 2. I mean, we've had people that are pre-diabetic, but everyone uses CinnaChroma. Everyone still uses it because of the benefits of the ingredients that are put in the supplement. So just so you know that. You know what, Dr. Saunders, I almost wonder if your video would work now because you're coming in so clear. Did you get to your destination?
Yep. Yeah, I'm home.
Wonderful. Okay. If you want to turn it back on, you can. Up to you, but it sounds really good. So
no, okay, it says it's disabled.
Oh, that's probably on my end then. Let me see.
Yeah. My video has a disability.
Oh no. There he is.
We're back.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sticking with us, guys. Sometimes, this is life. We're real people. This is real life happening on this webinar. So we're not polished. And as Dr. Saunders would say, you get what you pay for.
So true.
That's so funny. We love Dr. Saunders. He's the best. And we could charge thousands of dollars for this. I mean, those of you who've been on here before, like the information is invaluable. So yeah, this is great. Oh, we have someone from, Deborah, you're from Eden Prairie. I did know that. Glad to have you back on. I didn't see all these earlier. So quite a few of you are back on. Roger, Joanne, Robert, Mary. Awesome. Okay, Richard says, can you recommend a superfood protein drink mix? Going to Mexico for a service project and I'm eating whole food plant-based.
Okay, whole food plant-based is awesome. And in Mexico, you can get awesome foods. I've never had any problems eating in Mexico. Why? Because I could always get beans wherever I went, and they have, man, avocado, cilantro. I love Mexican food, and it's really funny. In Great Britain, they don't have any good Mexican food. We went to Costco; they don't even have tortillas. None, zero
What?
tortillas. So in Costco in London. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think you should have any problem with that. I don't think smoothies are really a good idea, mostly because they're all full of chemicals in them, whether it's chemical vitamins or flavorings or sweeteners, all that stuff. It's just generally not a good idea. And there was one other thing, we've talked about this a little bit. That is, when you eat smoothie, when you drink smoothies, the concentrated powdered proteins raise your insulin levels and make you more insulin resistant. I remember I told the story of my CrossFit coach that he could not get rid of his belly, and he was pre-diabetic. And he's like, no way, I work out all day long. And so we talked about him eating his big old smoothie with a bunch of protein powder and 6 eggs in it. And then also doing that at night before he went to bed. That was the kicker. But yeah, protein powders, I don't know. I actually do a superfood smoothie. It's called SOS. It's a SOS nutrition. And it's really good. It's actually out of Santa Barbara. I met the guy who does it, and he is on the level. Really good stuff. No sweeteners, no flavors, no colors. And here's the thing about that particular supplement. We'll have to include this in case people want to buy it. Yeah, I put it in. He instead of extracting, like let's say he uses acerola cherries for vitamin C, but they don't take acerola cherries and extract out the vitamin C and put it in the supplement. They take the whole acerola cherry and put it in the supplement. And then he has some guanabana leaf for zinc, and he doesn't just extract the zinc out of it. They take the whole guanabana leaf and put it in the smoothie. So it's actually a whole food smoothie that has his idea of it was to be the only natural smoothie to have all natural vitamins supplements. So there were a few things he had to add in that were not particularly plant-based. He had to put some yeast, high selenium yeast, for example, to get selenium, which is kind of important because the yeast make it into selenomethionine, which is very easily absorbed. Anyway, that SOS powder is really good.
Interesting. Okay. I remember years ago, I think I kind of gotten into like protein drinks, and there were a lot of people on our team, I think, that were CrossFitting. This is probably 10 years ago. And we kept telling Dr. Saunders, we need a protein drink. We need to come up with a protein. He was like, no, we're not doing it. You guys got to eat real food. See, yeah. Always sticks to those things. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have. Eric says, hello, the diabetes solution kit is off the hook. It's the best weight loss solution kit. Your blood pressure solution kit is off the hook, but the diabetes solution kit is my number one. Thank you. So thank you, Eric. Thanks for hopping on each week. And let's see, Roger says, Dr. Saunders, I recall you mentioning that berberine is similar to metformin and how it brings down blood sugar. So I purchased, you know what? I already answered that question. Just kidding. Some of these I already answered. Okay. Connie says, is it bad to eat bacon as it makes you fat? I can't take turmeric. So what else can I take, please?
Okay. Is it bad to eat bacon because it makes you fat? Okay. So
bacon is bad for a lot of different reasons, and it's associated. Bacon, ham, processed meats, the sausage, all of those are clearly associated with colon cancer. So, and association is not causation. I'm not saying that it causes colon cancer, but it's a strong association. So if you eat bacon, have it once a month, or I don't know, occasionally or whatever, but it wouldn't be something that I would have every day. The big answer is yes, avoid it, mostly at least. And then the second part was turmeric. What could you do instead of turmeric? Some people do react to turmeric. I've had several people have a reaction to turmeric and not be able to take it. So there's something called boswellia, which is a frankincense extract. So frankincense is the resin from the plant, and then boswellia is the name of the plant. So frankincense is the resin from the boswellia plant. And but the herb boswellia is a great anti-inflammatory, similar to turmeric. It doesn't have the same effects. Turmeric has, the reason we use turmeric with the black pepper is because it had more of the effects that I was looking for, were the inflammatory conditions, like with type 2. But boswellia compared head to head with Aleve, Metformin, or Aleve is naproxen, and it compared favorably. They couldn't tell the difference. The people that had like chronic arthritis couldn't tell the difference between boswellia and Aleve. So it's good.
That is interesting. Good to know. I'm going to test that next time somebody in my family thinks they need some Aleve or something. We'll see what happens. That's good to know. All right. See, guys, I just learn stuff all the time. And I have boswellia in my cupboard, in my little cupboard filled with supplements. All right. Let's see. William says, I take CinnaChroma and fiber greens. Will this conflict with Trulicity 4.5 milligrams?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. So that's one of the reasons we formulated the CinnaChroma the way it is really it's food. It's food. It's cinnamon. The nutrients that are in there are food nutrients, well, except for vitamin D. But everything else is just like it's taken from food. So it's fine. And they're really good. And you can take them with your other medications.
All right. Oh, okay. Kathy says, I have so many ailments and too many questions to be answered. Where can I go to get answers?
Okay, read the book. You know what? A lot of when you go through the book, it's not just a program for reversing diabetes in terms of, oh, eat this. There's a lot of things we answer in there, how stress affects it, and what the different medications do. There's a lot of information in there beyond just eat this and do this and do that.
Yes, and if you want to dig in, even more, go to our YouTube channel. We have covered so many topics there, and it is, I'm basically a doctor now, in case you guys are wondering.
You have a doctorate degree, Dr. Leslie. Dr. Leslie.
I'm just kidding. But honestly,
please come to ER.
There was a show, what was it called?
The Pretender.
No, the Midwife show. It was on PBS. Or no, it wasn't. Yeah, it might have been one of those. Oh, I can't think what it's called. Something midwives. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I can deliver babies now. And anytime there's a problem, I know what to do. So, and I'm joking. That is not true. But I loved those.
My favorite line from Gone with the Wind is, I don't know nothing about birthing no babies.
Oh, goodness, yes. Okay, so bartonwebinar.com, you'll find a link to our YouTube channel. I would recommend going there because yes, we talk about type 2 nearly every week. Actually, we do. But we've covered so much.
There's so many topics. Oh yeah. Everything you want to know. Boy, if you watch those. Yeah.
So I would recommend that for you, Kathy, I think. And then from there, to be honest, Dr. Saunders, unless you live where he lives, he probably can't be your doctor, but finding a good functional medicine doctor in your area is a really good place to start. And you can Google that. But the thing that I and Dr. Saunders is this way too, but we appreciate that because they get to the root causes of what's going on in your body. Look at the whole body instead of the one piece that's having a problem, you know. And so that would be my recommendation, and probably Dr. Saunders too.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Roger says, I want to start the diabetes solution kit, but I don't have a weight problem. In my type 2 diabetes scenario, how can the kit mostly help me?
Okay, good. Thank you. That's a great question. So the purpose for the solution kit is to reduce insulin resistance. So what you need to know now, because you don't have a weight problem, is you need to know how much insulin you're making, and do you have insulin resistance? Because if you're deficient in insulin, then you may need another program. But just consider this also, that even if you have low insulin levels, if you do the diabetes solution kit, you will probably lose weight, but you don't have to, because you can still eat a lot and pretty much maintain a normal, healthy weight. We should do weight sometime. You know, that's that's an interesting topic. I've been doing a lot of research on it, and people who weigh their body mass index is higher actually live longer than people with lower body mass index. So, you know, you think of all these, I don't know, people are saying that the best body weight is somewhat thin, and that's probably not. You know, people live longer who are a little overweight. So I don't know.
Hooray!
Anyway, yeah, right. So if you don't want to lose weight, then you can eat more and still do the program. But look at your insulin levels. You may be deficient in insulin, and it may not be a simple type 2. You might be 1.5. Type 1.5 means you're insulin resistant like type 2, but you lack insulin like type 1. So then you have both of them going on. So the blood sugar goes up, but it's for a different reason. And so you'd have to work with your doctor on how to figure that one out.
Okay. Melinda says, I have a lot of trouble with water retention. What can I do for that?
Oh, that's a great question too. That's a common problem. Thank you for asking that. That is common. Water retention happens for many different reasons. And sometimes it's because of hormone imbalances. So one of the things to do is look at your hormones, because low thyroid, for example, hormone, high cortisol levels, for example, or even the estrogen progesterone ratio could be off, causing some water retention. So, you know, like women, when they're going through their menstrual cycle, will have bloating and water retention, and that's just because of the change in their hormones. And it's not just the sex hormones; it's also, you know, like thyroid. So have your hormones checked. That would be a good thing for water retention. Also have your heart checked, because sometimes if your heart isn't pumping hard enough, and that if you have type 2, then you might also have heart disease, and you might have heart failure. And early heart failure, you can reverse it, but if you wait too long, you can't reverse it. So it's kind of worth it to not wait for the doctor to say, hey, we should check your heart. If people have swelling and it's persistent and it's not, and they don't have kidney disease, that's the next one we're going to talk about, and they don't have these other hormone imbalances, then I have a cardiac echocardiogram done to look at the function of the heart. Because if it's low functioning, then you have another issue. You have to go on our webinar tomorrow and watch the heart disease webinar.
Yes, you don't want to miss
okay.
that. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then the other thing, if you have diabetes, is make sure your kidneys are functioning well, because you can retain water from having low kidney function. And then be careful of dehydration and water retention, because they can come together. If you have high sodium, you're holding on to sodium. That's another hormone that should be looked at, is your renin-aldosterone ratio. Renin-aldosterone ratio. I'm sorry, ARR, aldosterone to renin ratio. And that is causes you to retain salt. So you retain sodium and you get rid of potassium, which is a bad thing. So if you have your potassium sodium balances off, you get water retention really easily. And that could be from an adrenal hormone called aldosterone. So there's a lot of different reasons. Don't accept, the doctor will just say, oh, here, take this water pill, like Lasix or something like that. Don't just take a water pill. Find out why, because think of all those different reasons. I mean, we're here, what, in the last 2 minutes, we talked about 4 different reasons you might have water retention, or actually, if each of the hormones, like 10 different reasons why you might have water retention. And they're all so different, and different treatments, entirely different treatments. Like for some, the hormone ones, you might need a hormone replacement of some kind. For aldosterone-renin ratio, man, you got to find out why your adrenal glands aren't functioning. And if it's the thyroid, then you got to fix your thyroid. You got to fix the underlying problem.
Yeah, that's good. One thing that I want to go over one more time is, let's just chat about berberine again. Tell us, I mean, you went over this, but I want to do it again just in case any of the audio cut out. Tell us again about the benefits of berberine for type 2.
Okay, so multiple benefits for type 2. One is it lowers blood sugar, but in a different way. Well, sort of similar to metformin, but a different way than all the other medications, because what all the other medications tend to do is to raise insulin so that you lower the blood sugar. But you know what the effect of that is to increase insulin resistance. So those are bad. And that's been proven in multiple studies. The largest study done, the UK-PDS, showed a 12% increase worsening of people that had kidney failure, limb amputations, and heart disease with the people that were on the medications versus the people who were not on the medications, even though their numbers were worse if they weren't on medications. In other words, their blood sugar was higher, their hemoglobin A1C was higher, their blood pressure was higher, but they had fewer complications. So the medications cause more complications. Metformin doesn't do that, and berberine will help your blood sugar come down in a way that improves your metabolic function and does not cause all those other issues.
Not to mention, guys, that I think, like I've said, every time I've talked to Dr. Saunders, he has mentioned things that berberine does outside of type 2 fixes, I guess you could say. I mean, anti-aging, I think he mentioned
cancer,
heart disease.
It's a great cancer drug. Like if I had cancer, I would take it, and I recommend all my patients with cancer take it.
And so what about preventatively? I mean, does it make sense to just take it for, I don't know what reason?
You know what? There's a lot of anti-aging people that say absolutely it's worth taking it out. Now, here's my advice if you're going to take it on a regular basis, is to take it 5 days on, 2 days off. Now, I know that's kind of random and arbitrary, but it's not totally arbitrary. What we're finding as research is done in this area, that taking something, anything, even minerals and vitamins, the same thing every single day, the body becomes accustomed to it, and you lose the ability to absorb it, and it doesn't work as well. And so I'll give you an example of an herb. There's an herbal extract of wormwood called artemisinin, and wormwood extract is for parasites like malaria. Malaria is huge all over the world. It's big, and this has been used for hundreds of years or thousands of years for malaria. But one of the issues is that if you keep using I'm sorry, people in high malaria areas, you'd think they'd want to take it on a regular basis and not get malaria in the first place. And that's true. But what they found is if you take it every day, it doesn't work. It stops working. But if you take it 1 week on, 1 week off, then they never had issues with it. But even there was another research project that did 5 days on, 2 days off, and it still worked. And so it continuously worked with 5 days on, 2 days off. So I think, in a week, that's kind of easy to do, like take weekends off from your berberine. That's
Awesome.
what I would.
Okay. I love it. That came up on our webinar last week, our Healthy Heart webinar too. So good stuff. Another thing that Dr. Saunders, you guys may not know, is that Dr. Saunders helps to write for our Home Cures That Work. It's a digital magazine, and actually you can get it printed too now, can't you?
Yeah, I think you
used to
can.
print it. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But I always look at it online. But I think you recently did an article on berberine. Is that right?
I did.
Hey,
I did.
Guys, if you have not subscribed to that, that is a really, really neat thing too. If you just can't get enough of Dr. Saunders and you want to learn more about all things health, check out homecuresthatwork.com. That's a really, really good resource. Cheryl is our editor for that. And Cheryl's hopped on here a few times, and she also helps to host our Healthy Heart webinar, which is going to be tomorrow. It's Thursdays, and it's at 12 noon Central. So you can register for that at bartonwebinar.com as well. Lots of good information shared there. And you know what? The things that we do to reverse type 2 are not the same that we do to reverse heart disease. There's some overlap, but our plans are a little bit different. Although Dr. Saunders still likes fiber in both plans. So they're similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's important.
It is important. That's good. Okay, I had a question here, and I think we kind of addressed this. Well, I lost it, but somebody had asked, I've been taking CinnaChroma for like a month, let's say. It's not affecting my blood sugars. What's wrong?
Okay. So again, CinnaChroma the purpose for CinnaChroma is not to lower your blood sugar. The purpose for phase 1 is to lower your blood sugar. So do phase 1. CinnaChroma is a support to help make sure that you have all the nutrients you need, so that when you do phase 1, it works well and you become insulin sensitive again. Lower your insulin resistance, lower your blood sugar, improve your metabolic function. So this is really just a help to make sure you're doing it right. So people with type 2 diabetes, another study fairly recently, a few months ago, showed that vitamin D helps to make the cells more sensitive to insulin. So you're more efficient at getting sugar into the cells. So we have vitamin D in there, and then we balance that with vitamin K. And so don't look at the supplement as lowering your blood sugar. It's not a drug. This is not medication. It's just to normalize your metabolic function so that when you do phase 1, it'll work.
Yes, good stuff. All right. Let's see. Richard says, I no longer take metformin. I have 15% use of my kidneys, and was to remove from taking most drugs. I have been on phase 1 for 1 month, not allowed potassium, and do not eat food high in potassium. My kidney doctor said he is not advising me on reversing my diabetes. Berberine, does it harm my kidneys?
Oh, good question. You know what? I just did a lot of research on it, and that was not on a list of problems with berberine. I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I have any information specifically on the kidneys. All I can say is it's not on the list of known problems with berberine, because they're really gastrointestinal are the only problems associated with it.
A couple different questions or comments about the possibility of Joe Barton coming up with a new omega supplement with Dr. Saunders. Joe hopped on a webinar a few weeks ago and might have mentioned that. And so there's a question here from Bob. What's the difference between 369 and 379?
Okay. Our bodies cannot make those omega fatty acids. Omega means they are the long chain fatty acids with a whole bunch of carbons, and most of them have they're called saturated, which means they have hydrogens attached to each one of them. And some of them, a few of them in the omega position, they're all, if you notice, they're all odd numbers, have a hydrogen removed, and they have a double bond on the carbons. And our bodies don't make that. When you turn sugar into fat, you make saturated fatty acids, and those are just the standard saturated fat that you get from animal products and all of that. The omega fatty acids are unsaturated, and they only come from plants, and they don't come from animals. The animals all make saturated fats. So whatever the cow eats, or the chicken, or the fish, that's what you're going to get. So if you get farmed fish, I was just looking into this the other day. If you get farmed fish and they're feeding them soy, then you're getting soy oil essentially from the fish. You're not getting fish oil, just so that you know, because the fish are eating plankton and, you know, algae and whatever, the plants that make those omega oils. So back to the, I'm doing research on this because we're putting a product out, and I want to make sure we have everything right. So the omega-7 we need in very small amounts. Omega-3, 6, 9 are the main ones that can be deficient. It's rare to have omega-9 deficiency because olive oil contains quite a bit of it, and it's pretty easy to get. But, you know, the omega-3s, flaxseed oil, people don't eat flaxseed as a rule. That's not like a staple in your diet. And so fish is a primary source of omega-3. That's why it's a big one. Omega-6 is absolutely essential. You must have it, but it's abundant in corn and nuts and soy and canola. So the vegetable oils have a lot of omega-6 in them. So it's pretty rare to be deficient in omega-6. So do you need 369 or 379? Well, the reason they do 379 is because the 6 is so abundant, we don't need it. And the 7, it's pretty rare to have a deficiency of that one too. So the omega-3 is the one that's deficient, but you know, I have had people with severe eczema, and I put them on sunflower oil so that they get the combination of omega oils, and their eczema went away. So that Dr. Jonathan Wright recommended that, and so I looked it up, and I'm okay, fine. So I tried it, and it worked in more than one case. So
wow, interesting. Okay.
Some people probably need more than just omega-3.
Very interesting. Okay. Okay, we're about out of time here. Stephanie says, will this program work for diabetes caused by fatty liver?
Okay, that's really important. The answer is absolutely. Okay, because the fatty liver is the fat being made from your sugars, and some of those sugars, like fructose, they actually get toxic, and it's killing your liver cells. So when you go off of those things, when you go off of glucose and fructose, then your liver stops making fat, and you can actually use up all that fat and reverse the fatty liver as fast as you reverse the diabetes. So it's a great program for people with fatty liver and diabetes.
Okay. Brian was wondering if he could just quick pick your brain on tinnitus. Taking benfotiamine, 600 milligrams twice a day, and white noise machine. The solution kit worked so good for me, I had to ask. Okay.
All right. So tinnitus is a big problem, and I've tried a whole bunch of things for it. I had somebody who was just miserable with tinnitus, and he said it's like screaming constantly, and it was so hard to deal with. And so I looked into a lot of different things. And I even bought a supplement. I looked online, and it was a scam. It was a total scam supplement. Anyway, two things I found worked, and for him, it was hyperbaric oxygen. The other one is fasting. I've had one person, only one, who had really bad tinnitus do a long fast. I don't remember how many days. I think he did like a week or two kind of thing. And the tinnitus mostly went away. He said, I can still hear it, but it's kind of background noise now instead of like in the forefront. Hyperbaric oxygen. And there's been some research on hyperbaric oxygen that shows it does reduce tinnitus.
Who knows? Maybe berberine. Might have to do some searching. You never know.
Yeah.
Feel like we're finding more and more. And I think Joe Barton, who's usually co-hosting and the founder of our company, struggled with it for a little while as well, if I remember, a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I don't remember talking about it lately.
I know, and I don't remember what worked for him, but I'm going to end the webinar with this question from Kathy because it's a great question. How can I identify the root cause of my type 2?
Oh, wow. Okay. Gosh, I start off with when someone comes in with type 2. I start off with just simple set of tests. I don't go deep and do all the tests all at once. I do the simple ones to give a direction of which way we're going. So look at your insulin levels. Get your insulin levels done, and a C-peptide. That's C-peptide, P-E-P-T-I-D-E. Okay, insulin, C-peptide, glucose, which usually comes in the metabolic panel, and then hemoglobin A1C. So that'll give you a good picture of your pancreas function, insulin resistance. If it comes out weird or there's something unusual about it, try doing another one, which is a glucose tolerance test with insulin. So you go into the lab and they draw your blood and they do the glucose and insulin. And then they give you something to drink because you go in fasting, so you don't have any sugar. And then they give you syrup to drink. It's a glucose syrup. You drink it down. And then an hour later, they do your insulin and sugar and glucose. And then another hour, insulin, glucose, 3 hours, insulin and glucose. And I've had things turn up on that test that I would not have otherwise known. One woman, she was perfectly normal on her fasting glucose, normal glucose. But what was odd was her hemoglobin A1C was high. And I'm like, gosh, your fasting glucose is really consistently normal. When we had and she was getting hypoglycemia. That was the other thing that was odd. So, but her hemoglobin A1C was high, but she was getting hypoglycemia. It didn't make any sense. So then we did that 3-hour glucose tolerance test, and at 1 hour, her glucose shot way up, but her insulin did not. At 2 hours, it was the opposite. The glucose started coming down. The insulin was super high, over 100. And normal is like 5. So it came way up. And then by 3 hours, her blood glucose was down. It was down the last 2 times. And she got hypoglycemic at that point. But her insulin stayed up for the last one. It had come down a little bit. So we saw her problem was an insulin response was causing her type 2. Well, it was pre-diabetes actually in her case, but it was kind of interesting that the insulin response was the issue, and so we had to do an entirely different program for her.
Wow, very interesting.
Interesting. So those 4 tests: the insulin, C-peptide, glucose, and hemoglobin A1C. And then if there's something that's weird, do that glucose tolerance test with insulin, because like that other one, I would not have known what was going on if all we did was just the glucose.
Okay, adding that to my list here. Okay, this is awesome. What a good webinar, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Come back tomorrow if you want to learn about heart health. And if not, we'll see you next week where we will talk about type 2 as well. And tell a friend. If you have a friend who's interested in learning this information, invite them to bartonwebinar.com. Thank you, Dr. Saunders. Enjoy your trip in London, and we'll see you soon.
Tomorrow.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.